Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back once again to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works. I'd like to talk about the H&M Mozilla some more, and we'll talk about the dead ahead wet pedal. As you are well aware, Dr. Jet likes small boats for a number of reasons. Hang on, I'm going to have some jet juice here. One of the reasons I'm almost forced into them is the pond where I run is pretty small. And great big, really fast boats would run out of water real quick. So I've just personally limited to these smaller size boats. And there's several benefits to a smaller boat and several liabilities to a small boat. A small boat, first of all, you got to remember my motto. A small boat can be fast and cheap at the same time. So one of the big advantages is cost. The cost goes up as a cube factor of the length. So as this thing gets bigger and bigger in 3 dimensions, the cost grows in 3 dimensions. So small boats are pretty cheap. One of the big problems with small boats is keeping them light and fitting stuff in them. The opening, now take Big B's Blackjack 42, for example. You can put your whole arm in there and reach up and get your whole arm up into the tip of the front sponson. This you might be able to get 3 or 4 fingers into. So fitting stuff in little boats, hang on, offers a challenge. Another challenge, and this is where you really got to plan stuff out, is all the little miscellaneous and sundry wires and hoses and stuff you have to run. With these things being as small as they are, you need to think about that in advance. And in fact, that's why I ran this water cooling along the side over there, was to get it out of the way. The servo here out of the way. And so the wiring would be out of the way. And in fact, I'm going to show you what my latest line of thinking is. Now, I tacked the receiver on here earlier, and I was looking at it, and the way the antenna wire fell, it would crash with the servo arm. So that's what I like about tacking the receiver on with just a dab of hot glue on the corner. You can just break it off and re-tack it. So I moved the receiver up here, and I'm paying close attention to where the wires go when you close the hatch. So remember, I stuck the cooling lead up here, and I was kind of questioning what I was going to do with it. Well, get a load of this. I've decided on, I was first going to run a ZTW Shark 40, but I decided against that, and I'm going to run this Dynamite 30. But now, here, I'll show you what I did. I might have to get my tweezers out. I'll show you what I did. I made a piece of jam foam. Wherein it would sort of fit the speed control, after all the wires are tucked in where they're supposed to go, would sort of fit the speed control, and I can jam it up in there. So that's part of my thinking. And then so in doing it that way, all the servo leads would come out right here. And in fact, with the Dynamite 30, it's got a little push button, and I can set the push button right over here. I can glue it down onto the deck with some contact cement, and bingo, it's accessible and it's out of the way. Remember, the battery's going to go on this side. And another reason I stuck it up there, you see this little mark, that's about where my CG is going to be, so I have a reference there as I'm moving things around. So I'm going to need, the speed control weighs, 10% of the whole boat is the speed control. So it needs to be up forward because I've got all this hardware back here. And frankly, this Delrin block. Now Delrin, hang on, is real easy to machine. You can throw that on the mill and get a real nice surface on it looking really good. But it's heavy. Now, if I were building this as a race boat, hang on, I'd be concerned about that. And I would have either made this out of carbon fiber or at the least milled out a lot on the inside. And I might still do that, but I think we'll be fine. Just moving the speed control far enough forward compensates for that. And I can do the final balance playing with my motor and my battery location. As far as motors, I called up Lisa over at New Motors, and I said, hey, Lisa, tell Steve and Jeff I want a new motor. And she said, okay, but they're redoing some parts on them, and it's going to be 6 weeks. And I said, okay, that's fine with me. I want the motors with the newest stuff. So it'll be a little while. I have that TP motor on order, and it's coming on a slow boat from China. So this may wait a while. With those motors, the TP motor and the new motor, I may be going back to this this motor mount. Gee, somebody's been drawing with red magic marker around there. I wonder why. Anyway, I might just make another mount out of carbon fiber. Here's what I like to do when I have something like this. I use rubber cement and treat it like contact cement. Put rubber cement on this side, rubber cement on this side, let it dry, stick it together, and then you can drill and sand and do all that, and then just drop it in some solvent, and you'll have two pieces again. So when you're using one piece to make as a template to make another, rubber cement. Stuff is magic. Okay, so another little thing I like about these small boats is they fit in little gun cases. And you saw me, I pulled out a boat that was 25 years old and it looks brand new because it lives in a little gun case. So that's a nice thing for transporting your boats and so forth and storing them. You can just throw them in the back of the truck and away you go. So there's that. Just quick and dirty on the wet pedal, just to show you how I did the fins. I took a Dremel and I just cut a slot here, and I built these fins with a little tab, fill it with epoxy. You can see where I was cutting in here, and then I'll come back with some epoxy and Cabosil mix and smear it in there, and then as the stuff's going off, I'll come in with a paper towel with alcohol and smooth it all off so I get a nice looking little fillet in there that'll be a 1/32 inch radius, just nothing. I was watching Big B's video this morning where he painted his drag boat, and briefly he shows his wet pedal. And in fact, he did a video on this on some boat, and I think it was that little 13-inch hydro, where he took his hatch and he actually built up around the hatch and then sanded down to get a perfect fit. And I noticed in his wet pedal that he had a really good fit on here. Dr. Jet is not going to go to that effort. Dr. Jet is going to do this as a police boat and use black electrical tape. Not a police boat, I'm sorry, the bat boat, and use black electrical tape on it and call it good enough. This is going to be a basher boat. This is going to be, hey, you want to drive a boat? Here, drive this one. You want to drive the bat boat? So that'll be it's a destiny. It's not going to get any super fine detailing. Although Big B's drag boat turned out pretty slick. Good job there, Big B. I approve. That little thing looks great. And it surprises me. It's got good out of the hole performance. Those little motors eat some amperage. So he's got a big battery in there that will feed them. And that little sucker takes off from a dead stop pretty darn well. Anyway, enough of today's dabbling about there. This is going to go on the back burner while motors get shipped to me. And I'll do a little more work on this and jet out.